Hello, friends. I'm not sure where exactly it's going to go today because there's so much here. So I'm trying to, let it come through in a way so it's all going to make sense. But first, I want to say I remember when I took the Hakomi therapy training many years ago, I think in the late 90s. Um, there was kind of a joke that with this video with Bob Newhart. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called Stop It. And it was like almost like, oh my God, you can't do that because in Hakomi, it's very, very much about coming into the experience. So that's where the transformation, of course, can come from our felt sense direct experience in the presence. That's where we can shift. We can't shift from here, from back. It has to be right here because the energy that we are carrying with us is still with us, whether it's known or unknown, consciously or unconsciously. So if somebody would come in on the first session and they come with, they're crying and they have this whole story, and if I would just say, stop it, that would be violent, like so violent. And Hakomi is the absolute opposite of that. It's just an allowing and a welcoming for the experience to be fully experienced and felt. And then from that's where things can really start changing. So it was kind of like, oh my God, that's terrible. So here we go, whatever, 25, 30 years later or so, 25 years later. Um, I have to say that there is a lot to that now, to the stop it, but not in the way that Bob Newhart did it. It's when we are in the experience that there really is a choice, but we need to know what that is, and so we don't do a bypass either. So there's a lot to this, and I don't know how much I'm going to be able to cover today where it still makes sense. But let's see. With all the work that so many of us have done, I still see that many times there is a tendency when we are doing therapy in whatever way that looks. For me, I'm a Hakomi therapist, so it's very much about the felt sense coming into the body, coming into the experience. And it's so powerful. I mean, if anything has changed me over the years, it is the Hakomi work. And um, let's see what wants to be spoken here. What I see often is, especially people who are in the more the therapy world, is there can be a tendency to stay in that realm, to improve it, to be present with it, to really notice it. I mean, which is all very important, but it can also be a trap. And as I'm saying that, it can be a spiritual bypass trap because we're now bypassing spirit, and we can get lost in the therapy aspect of it, and that can be coaching, that can be whatever it is, whatever you call it. But if it is not, if it's not moving towards letting it go fully, to stop it, then we might get trapped in a loop of just doing it again and another aspect and another aspect. I don't know when the line is drawn for you, where you can kind of not say stop it, but just realize that, okay, I think I've come as far and I can start letting it go now and moving into who I truly am. And of course, that is one of the things of the matrix, is that it has so many tricky ways of pulling us back in. So that's why, therapy can be a huge trap. But it all depends on where you are, where we are in our developmental unfolding and unraveling. So you can't, it's like you cannot do it too soon because then you bypass some parts that are still stuck in the matrix and then they will remain stuck. And then you're bypassing it because you're not free in your spirit, in your soul, because this is still pulling at you, even though you may, ignore it. It's tricky territory, but it's very important to be aware that that is what is happening and that there is a time where you just know it's time to let that go. So, as always, I just invite you to just take a breath and notice, how is this impacting you? Can you resonate with it? Can you relate to it? It's a very individual experience. But when I see that, for instance, in maybe in the Hakomi world, and I'm not saying that it's like that for everybody by any means, but generally, I when I hear people or work with people or see things, whatever, I can see there is just this tendency just to stay in that realm of the matrix to unravel things. Yes, keep unraveling until you can let the whole thing go. That's where freedom starts. So you don't want to get lost in the never-ending therapy cycle of improving, of healing, of holding. That all will be naturally incorporated in your beingness where you don't have to do it. I don't have to love myself. It's like I have stopped not loving myself. So therefore, there is no reason to love myself. When I let go of not loving myself, I just love. There's not it doesn't even resonate anymore. And that's of course where there is a lot of freedom. So so in a very beautiful session earlier today with a client, there was the question of like, why has it taken me so long to get to this place? I think she said to get, to work with you right now, where it's really unraveling. And first I said, I don't know. I'm wondering about that myself. And then out of my mouth comes, it's because you, all of us who are here, we have been doing a lot of work on ourselves for a very long time. And sometimes it feels like, you're just banging your head against the wall. I mean, you may bang a hole where you're like, oh my God, there's freedom. But then you go over here and then you bang it again. Because, like I've said, we are still living in the matrix soup. You can see that video here. And we're still in that heavy dimensional energy of this third dimension of the matrix. So even though we may not have experienced the freedom that we really have been looking for, we have done a lot of work and we have paved the way. Yes, you and I have paved the way for an energetic opening by, clearing the density and clearing the density. Because when we lived in that density, there wasn't really much light instead of some internal ahas or openings or awakenings. But then when you look out, there's still all the density is still here. And it's like, oh my God, nothing is changing. But we did bring light to this density, and that light has been growing and growing to the point that now there is a lot more light here now, that we are ready to let go. Remember the burden I was talking about the other day? Oh, and when I said maybe it's not yours, you can put it down. This to me is a very pivotal shift in doing the deeper inner work. And again, very individual. I'm not somebody who would ever suggest a spiritual bypass or any bypass. So it's individual. And, if you're good at really accessing yourself and know when, if you're bypassing or not, it's great. Otherwise, reach out. It's much easier for somebody else to spot what you may not be able to see yet. So as we are bringing more of this light, just by all the work we've done, we have become more light, whether we can feel it or not. I'm sure you can feel it, but it's like, why is this not changing? And why is this still happening? Yeah, it is going to happen a lot faster from now on. And we might as well get ready for that things are going to be seen deeper, faster, and it's going to be easier to let go. Like what we've been holding on to the matrix and it kept pulling us in. Now we can go like, no, I now realize that this stuff that I've been working on was not mine. I needed to work through it to unhook and unhook and unhook. And every time we unhook, more light comes in, more light comes in. So you and I have been part of this shift that we're going through that, first of all, brings up a lot more darkness to be seen. It's not that it bringing it up, it just makes it more visible because there's more light. I did a video on that also. I can't remember the name right now. You can see it up here. And so we're lighter. We are lighter. And that's why we don't need to work with all this density. There's a point where you just see like, oh my God, I took this on very innocently as a little child. I talked about it the other day. And I I was unconsciously being a little sponge, which we are as children. We're just taking in the energies, and we don't know um, how to separate ourselves from them because we don't have that scaffolding or that grounding yet. We just don't have that yet. We're just like, oh, innocent, and then all this stuff comes in. And then it's almost like it becomes ours, but it is not. And that's where when I say stop it, or when Bob Newhart says stop it, there is a point where we can say it from here because we can see what caused this, how we took it on, and we can see our innocence in it. So innocent. It just kind of happened and it just went in. And now we're carrying maybe the burden of our parents, our ancestors, because they were living in this density that we're just coming out of now. And they couldn't see it. It's so funny when I say that, I feel so much energy coming through. And that always tells me, like, yes, there's some extra boost there. They did not have the light back then, but now we have a lot more light. So they were not able to transform it or transmute it, just like we weren't, until now, because there's more light now. And that's why we can put down the burden and say, no more. Not for me anymore. It's not mine. I took it on, innocently, and I couldn't see that until now. If you see it, don't do it up here, don't bypass, do the deeper work so you can see it. Then you can maybe pass it on and let them know that they can do the same. But for you, it's like, the buck ends here. Is that how you say it? Something like that. It ends with me. It ends with me. I have been carrying it. I'm putting it down now, and I'm not going to pick it up again. Okay. I went over that too with a few steps the other day. And then from here, we have to be very aware that there's nothing we need to do with that thing anymore. We don't need to keep going over or whatever. We can keep telling ourselves, no, I've put it down and we're done. And then you can what you can do then to transmute it and keep transmuting it is to just be in the stillness, because now you have more energy because you put it down, right? All your energy doesn't go to like holding it and fixing it and healing it. It's like, okay, now I can be here and I can basically just allow this thing or observe this thing and know that, oh, it's not mine. I don't need to do anything. So you don't even need to deny it or turn away from it, unless you do, maybe there's a place for that. But you just allow it. And if there's a tendency to go in again, because these are old patterns. This is all the neural pathways. That's all they've known. So, give yourself some time and some space to really rebuild that. And a big piece of rebuilding it is just to see it, notice the tendency that you want to go and grasp it again or whatever. And you can just say, oh no, that is not mine anymore. We're done. I think I did a video a while ago, like I've broken up with the matrix, right? But this today is much more refined. Like you are breaking up, but you're basically putting it down. And then the reminder is so beautiful to just keep saying, no, this was never mine. This was never mine. Not now, not then. And just feel what a relief that brings. So this is kind of, if I can bridge that therapy with being done with therapy, because you can start letting it go, that is a shortcut to liberation and not get stuck in the forever improving, healing, uncovering, processing your stuff, which is not yours. It's not yours, never was. That's why. Permission granted to just put it down and just leave it. Please comment below. Let me know if it resonates. Please reach out if you need support with that. Most of us can't see where we are still holding on. There might be a strong belief that, I need to do more. There's a lot of things that keep us stuck to the matrix. So if you need help, that's what I'm here for. And I would be honored to, do work with you if you want to, if that feels right. You can sign up for a self-discovery session. And what else? Oh yeah, so next Tuesday, please join our online meeting every first Tuesday of the month. Feel your deepest longing, find your spiritual calling, and it's all connected to what we're talking about today. Okay, I hope to meet you live sometime soon on these calls. And yeah, and I will see you probably again tomorrow. Have a great day.